Hi, my name is Pamela Ryan with PJR Consulting, and I'd like to welcome you to PJR Career Stages Question of the Day. What I've learned over the years is that when people embark on their journey to create a career package, a job search package, a resume, a LinkedIn profile, they run into an overwhelming number of questions. These are questions I talk to people about on a daily basis. So what I decided to do was create a channel with videos, with a question of the day and a video response to help people navigate this journey. So each response is based on research and experience that I collect from my network and prepare to deliver to you. But I do have an ask of you, and that is after you review a response and it triggers that you'd like a different perspective or it triggers a different question, if you could share that with me. You can do that in the job description below. There are links to my website and my social media sites, and you can just message it to me, and then I can prepare the response for you. And that way we can together help build this community for this challenging experience most people have. That would be great. Today's question of the day is really about when you plan for your job search or your career package, what are the different types of collateral that you really need and why? So I want to ask you 3 questions before we dive into that though. So the first question is what is your passion? What are you trying? What is your next step? Where are you trying to go? When I talk to people at all levels, or any part of their stage, they'll say to me, I can do this and I can do that and I can do that. When you talk to people who are hiring and they hear you say that, it doesn't look like you have any direction. The other thing is you may get a job doing one of those things and you may be unhappy in 3 months. And then they're looking for somebody to get a job. We want to fill that position because you're going to leave. We want to make sure you're going after the position you want. So what is your passion? What direction do we want your collateral to have? That's our first question. Our second question is in this career package, are you looking to go commercial or federal? So that's a big difference because commercial and federal have different types of collateral that you would need to build. So we would need to figure that out, or you would need to figure that out. And then what companies do you want to target? It's always good to have a preliminary list, maybe 10, because that's also going to help you shape your collateral. Okay. Okay. So one key message I always want you to think about as you're preparing collateral, changing collateral, anything, is when you prepare your collateral and review it, all the information on every piece of collateral must be consistent. So if I'm a reviewer and I go in and I review your resume and then I review your LinkedIn profile, I shouldn't find anything new or different or that's inconsistent. So like the dates on your resume need to be the same as the dates on your LinkedIn profile, for example. So I want you to think about that and always keep that in mind. Okay, let's talk about the collateral. So the first thing is, yes, of course, you need a resume. Everybody knows that. But the question is what type? People talk about commercial resumes, federal, or another a word that people use is USA Jobs. And I'll go into that a little bit. And then another type is a CV. Okay? Particularly in the US market, CVs are not necessarily used. So I'm really not going to refer to them in this video, but we can talk about them in another video where I take it offline and go into more detail. So let's go specific to the commercial resume. It is typically a 2-page. A lot of people will tell you, no, I only need it 1 page. We are looking for collateral that is readable. And when I say readable, the term I really mean is scannable. When somebody reviews your collateral for the first time, they do not read it. Nobody is actually going to sit down, pick up your resume, and read it word for word. Everyone who's working towards deciding whether or not they want to promote you in for an interview, they have a list, they know what they're looking for, and they are scanning your resume. We want to make their job easy. We want to make sure that they can scan your collateral in 2 to 4 seconds and can find out whether or not they should be promoting you for the interviews you deserve. So we need we need the white space, and we need it very easy to read. That's demonstrating to them you can do the job you're applying for. We need it to be ATS compliant or application tracking system compliant. So we need to make sure your resume, your commercial resume, addresses these concepts. I always recommend a summary and not a 2-line summary. So when I write a summary on a resume, it actually will target the position you're applying for using your capabilities to demonstrate your ability to do the job. A federal and USA job or USA jobs resume is very specific. It has very specific requirements. And so I will always recommend, if you're writing it yourself, that you go to the website and make sure you download and understand the formatting requirements that are required. In most situations, your application will not get through if you do not follow that site. The other way would actually be to have a professional who's trained in it to write that for you and knows how to do that. Okay, many times I actually get asked, is a LinkedIn profile required? I will tell you every time, yes. It has a different client base. It has a different network. There's actually, I prepared a video that talks to when you need a resume, when you need a LinkedIn profile, and do you need both? And I say yes. So the big question about a LinkedIn profile are the skills. And I am preparing a video to talk specifically to the skills on a LinkedIn profile and why they're so important. Cover letters is another piece of collateral that you would need. I'm going to tell you, I would typically say no, you don't need them. I actually read an article, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks ago, I was reading it, and the cover letter actually said, the article actually said that cover letters are leftover from the 90s. I'm going to probably agree with that. You have to think, in probably most of you, in the job types that you run, everything is about productivity improvement. You have to think that HR and the hiring processes are the same. They're about productivity improvement too. So that's not going to mean adding collateral or adding things for them to review. It's going to be, how do we optimize their review processes as well? So when you're preparing your collateral and what needs to go to them, particularly in a first round, we need to make sure we are addressing, let's call them the client, your client's needs, okay? Your federal or USA jobs resume, a lot of USA jobs require what's called KSAs. So typically they're written in the STAR method, which means we write each KSA is targeting a requirement or a qualification. We need to write them in situation, task, action, and result is really what the STAR method talks to, and it provides an example of that situation and how you handled it. In some examples I've discussed, what people have said to me, I can't validate this, is that the KSAs were more important than the resume. I can't validate that, but that's just information I've heard. But you just need to identify, is that needed for the job you're applying for? Let's talk bios for a second. Bios are probably more at an executive level, or if you do a lot of speaking engagements. You have established an expertise in a certain area, you do speaking engagements, you do panels, that is really when you would need a bio. So you're not going to need a bio at all levels. And a most critical area that everyone is going to need is interview preparation. And so this is an area where we'd have to define, and it's best to understand it up front. What types of interviews would you go through? How are they interviewing at this time? What types of questions are you going to answer? Up front, in the beginning, most interviews are a half hour. How do you prepare to manage or navigate a half-hour interview so that the person interviewing you is running the interview, but you are making sure they get all the information they need about you? So those are kind of the critical things that we need to make sure people are learning about you throughout the process. I'd like to thank you for your time, and please message me with any questions you have. And do me a favor, subscribe. If you like kind of these helping you, if they subscribe, you can hit the notify button so that you can get more of the videos or get notified when the videos are released. And then, of course, hit the like button. And please message any other questions you may have through my website or social media sites. Thank you, and have a great day.